Hello, and welcome to Living Well Today, episode 63. I'm Angela Moonen, your guide for the next 25 to 30 minutes. And each week, we talk about life in balance, in harmony, creating more joy, ease, peace in our lives as we work through our own mindset and presence and perspective at work and at home. And today's episode really is going to be focusing more on the work part of our life that many of us really infuse. Some folks don't love the work that they do in the world. Other people really embrace it and look for the gifts. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. In the face of AI, artificial intelligence, how do we move from frustration to fear, from overwhelm to opportunity, and try to better embrace and understand the power of being present and the power of understanding what our full potential is as human beings. And rather than seeing artificial intelligence as a means by which to be expunged, to just be moved and pushed aside, to actually thrive. So it's really like everything, we're presented with these challenges, with obstacles, some much more severe and daunting than others. AI to a lot feels like one of those big things, and it's the most existential shift, if you will, in our lifetime and for many generations to come. So understanding it and moving into a place of creativity and our own personal power around it versus shrinking, which I think is natural given the dialogue around AI right now. But that's today's title. So we're digging deeper into understanding how to thrive in the age of AI, because it's not going away. It's more than here. And I just had a really wonderful conversation, in fact, with a colleague of mine. His name is Jeff Canals, and he's a serial entrepreneur. He owns a beautiful young baby of a company, a startup called Arcovo. If you have the opportunity, take a look at it. And Arcovo focuses on efficiency in the workplace and adopting and adapting these technologies to make a company more efficient. That's it. And so what is left, though, on the other side of that coin, is this huge gap of what about the people? Because innovation is still ultimately about the people. We're not going anywhere. So, and neither is AI. So how do we integrate and thrive together? It's rapidly changing how we work, how we communicate. I mean, just technology in general, my ability here to be with you right now on multiple platforms live, from the comfort of a kitchen. So when you think about change, some of us, especially given the pace of change, adapt more readily, embrace the challenge, look for the opportunities, and we're just wired in a way that we migrate. It's funny because even though I was not fast in gym class as a kid, I was not fast. I was the turtle in the, if it had anything to do with speed, I was one of the last kids picked on the team. But if it had anything to do with agility or quick movements or strategic decisions, then I was the first picked. And we all have our strengths and we all have our non-strengths. And learning to understand what those are is the first step in change and transmutation of a challenge. So if you do a self-check right now and say, yeah, hands up, I'm one of those people who have a really tough time changing and embracing that change and looking at something as an opportunity versus a threat. If you know that about yourself, then you're already 80 to 90%. That awareness, you're already 80 to 90% in the driver's seat in being effective and resourceful to shift that. You can't shift what you don't know is an issue, right? So share this. I encourage you. Most people watch my episodes on repeat, on replay. recorded, not live. But if you know this about yourself, you know this about some of your employees, your coworkers, or just in general, you want to try and be more resourceful yourself in helping pave the way for humans to better embrace and thrive in this age of AI, then pass this along. You're going to find it on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and on my actual Facebook Living Well Today page, as well as my personal page. And you'll find the episodes as well on my website, angelamoonin.com. So let's dive in. Chances are, if you're like 80-20 rule, 80% of the population, you are triggered by change and not in a positive way. So what we know for sure, neuroscience demonstrates this time and time again, just like stress, which uncertainty is a form of that. Uncertainty, when you have uncertainty in your being at any great level, we all have it because none of us have a crystal ball. Wall Street certainly doesn't. If you're a business owner, what administration is in power for these next, 4 years, you're at the whim of a lot of dynamics you can't control. But we know for sure the more uncertainty you allow in your life, the greater stress. It actually affects your bloodstream, your immunity, your blood pressure, all of those things that are telltales of when stress is having an impact. So it's one of the biggest stressors in the human brain, uncertainty. And why is that? Because the brain can't ignore a question. That's science. If you ask yourself a question, or if you have this kind of, it's living there, this constant lack of certainty, then your brain is under stress because your brain's constantly trying to figure this out and there's no answer to it. Uncertainty is uncertainty. Those are dynamics you can't change. What you can affect, what you can control is your response to it. Do I see it as an opportunity? Am I looking to aspects of me that I know are resourceful, that make me me, and that make me valuable versus any computer, any bot that you put me up against? I might be slower than the bot, but can I be more creative? Can I be more meaningful? Can I be empathetic? The things that a machine cannot be. So we're going to talk today about those differences, about you. How are you different than a computer that I'm delivering this message on? How am I different from that? How are you different from that? What we want is predictability. And unfortunately, that's not the world we live in. That's why especially a change as big as AI is so unsettling for so many, because it's such a big uncertainty. Let's name what's really happening. If we get really to the crux of it, AI is making us question our own value, our own relevance in the world. It's challenging the roles and the skills that we've spent a life building, right? It's all of a sudden saying all those things that you've gotten really, really good at, that you're an expert at, gone. Irrelevant, because we can do it faster, better. All right. So those roles, the skills, everything that we know, the building blocks of our professional life are being called into question in terms of their value and sustainability and relevance and profitability from a business owner's standpoint. It's creating, AI is creating, like, we haven't got enough urgency in our lives, right? AI is exacerbating that. It's creating a sense of urgency that I have to keep up or I'm going to get left behind. And no one likes to get left behind. Here's the truth. I'm not saying any of that isn't, that those are real feelings and real questions that are being called out that are the reason that I'm even doing this episode in the first place. Those are real things. And we're all experiencing them to different degrees. But here's the truth. And that is fear thrives in the unknown. But the unknown is what we're dealing with. So knowing that, we are not powerless in this moment. We are never powerless. We are more powerful because we are divinity expressing. We are consciousness expressing, which bots don't have a consciousness. Okay. We are that power that they can never be. It doesn't take away, AI may take away a lot of things. It doesn't take away what makes us human. In fact, it highlights or shines a light on things that only humans can do. What is that? Well, things like original art, original creativity, that expression of God and divinity that comes into consciousness through us. Okay, that's something that machines cannot do. And emotional intelligence, bots have intelligence. Yeah, it's artificial for a reason. So emotional intelligence, that discernment, empathy, and compassion, and emotional judgment and nuance that happens between two human beings or happens amongst a team, the thrill of a win and a big project, that thrill, those emotions, machines cannot experience. It can't feel connection. It can analyze data, but it can't feel the connection between two human beings. Intuition, your gut, and your presence. Machines don't have presence because they're not breathing. It can predict outcomes, yes, but it doesn't live in the now. That's presence. And last week, I did a whole episode on now and the power of now and realizing that time is just a construct, okay? Machines don't know that. They know data points that they put together in a timeline. That's what they know. Most importantly, and I touched on this a moment ago, AI does not breathe. And what is inspiration? Inspirato, the root of breath, of creativity. Inspirato is breathing, that moment of creation. Why does that matter? Because breath is life. Breath is the rhythm of creation, the in and out, the flow of life. We are breathing, living creators right now, in this moment, as an expression of the divine. AI is a creation of us, from us. We created it. It couldn't create itself because it doesn't have creativity. It is not the divine. So that's the energy I want to encourage into this shift that's happening. The tools we're going to talk about in the next few minutes are going to allow you to ride on top of the wave instead of feeling like you're getting swallowed up in it. Don't bring fear, but creation. Don't bring reactivity, bring resourcefulness. There's a difference. The alternative to that is to what? Shrivel up and shrink away? There will be people that will opt for that and that will be lost, and they'll choose that victimhood. They'll choose that losing. And I'm not saying that I don't waver in and out of it. That's human. That's the aspect of us that we're talking about, we're celebrating today, is the ability to question and to really go deeper and understand your own fears and anxieties around uncertainty and change. So how do we shift? How do we shift from feeling powerless, and this is for anything, not just AI, to feeling empowered? Here are 3 ways I'm going to offer you that you can integrate AI into your work and your well-being without losing that sense, that all-important sense of yourself in the process. Curiosity. And this goes for life in general. Be curious, get curious, lean in rather than resist. Anything you resist is going to grow bigger. That's the nature of it. It's like when you are standing in the sun and you walk away from your shadow, what happens to the shadow? It grows bigger. When you look at the shadow and you recognize it and you walk into it and you're not afraid, you're not backing up. And it's okay to back up, but at some point you got to move forward. So as you move into your shadow, what happens? It shrinks. So walk into the shadow of AI. And instead of asking, will AI replace me? Try asking, how can I use AI to amplify what it is that I already do best? Use it, leverage it, all right? Curiosity opens doors. Fear shuts them. So stay curious. That like that little child that's wants to go exploring. Find that within you. And actually, I know we're using as point of discussion today, AI as the opening for leaning into fear and uncertainty and all of that. But it is just that. It's an opening. It's a way in. So this could be about anything, a new relationship. It could be about your money. It could be about something with your health that, something's not been feeling right and you're afraid. So you resist it, you stay away. Well, and guess what? The more you lean away and run in fear, the bigger that pain will get. So lean in and get curious, staying open to learning in all facets of your life keeps you in the driver's seat and lets you control what you can control in your own evolution of things and your growing of things. Double down. Here's the next one. Double down on what makes you human. What did I talk about? The ability to just tell a story from your heart, something that's meaningful to you. I've met someone over the last couple of weeks that's been helping me with my property, and it's amazing how much he's opened up and what he has shared. And he's doubled down on sharing his own story and being vulnerable and opening up and sharing something quite tender and difficult. And that makes him uniquely human, his ability to do that. And also uniquely curious. When I ask him a question or I pose a thought about energy or something like that, and he tilts his head and he leans in. And you can watch people, you watch your own body language. Are you being curious? Are you leaning in? Are you interested in shifting the story? So storytelling, emotional intelligence, getting really in touch with how you feel about something and not being ashamed of looking at it and examining it and trying to better understand it. Why am I feeling this way? Is it something that happened in the past that triggered me? Was it my own sense of not good enoughness? What is it? Get more curious about yourself and about your own emotions and balancing those emotions, using your breath, all the tools, all the things that we talk about week in and week out to make you more, to help you cultivate a higher sense of the true power you really are. Your strategic thinking, your deep listening. A robot can hear us. We can talk into our phone and say, or we can say, Alexa, play this song. They can hear us and they'll interpret that as ones and zeros. And then they give us what we ask for. But they're not deeply, empathetically listening. They're listening for certain words that are triggered in their library of data to feed us what we want, but they're not interpreting it emotionally. So AI can do what? It can analyze, but we are the ones who create the meaning of it all. AI can process, but it cannot connect. AI can generate, but we imagine. We are the imaginators. We imagined AI, right? We called it artificial for a reason. It's actually all of this, what I'm talking about, creating meaning instead of generating data, generating a new dream. This moment in time, I kind of actually see it as an open invitation, an invitation to lean into the things that breathe us, that make us most alive, and honor that about ourselves, not be ashamed of it. You see the difference? Strengthen your own presence, your own personal power, and resilience. Now, you have to have a certain level of faith. And I believe if you watch any of these episodes, you must, because it would be in such contrast to everything that I talk about and am. You have to have faith and trust on some level that you are God presenting. You are consciousness wanting to know itself better. And so as you do that, you begin to really, truly deepen your understanding of the power that you are. And instead of, future tripping yourself up or worrying about what AI might do, come back to this moment right here, right now, which is where your power is, in understanding the now. Here's one simple practice I'm going to give you when you feel some anxiety creeping in. And this goes certainly to AI, or when you hear it and someone's talking about at work, there's this new piece of software getting implemented and you feel it triggering you, that uncertainty, that anxiety. One simple practice when you feel it creeping in, okay? What do I have control over right now? And how can I bring my full self into this right now, into this moment? What do I know about me? What do I know about my own power and what I'm capable of? And what I'm going to tell you is, and I'm learning this too, more and more, you don't have an inkling of your personal power. I'm going to almost guarantee you that. You don't have an inkling. And maybe none of us fully do until we pass through to the other side. Maybe we don't really know ever fully what our power is until we're fully of it again, right? Because as these avatars, as we operate in the world, we're an expression of our soul. We're one slice, one fragment of our soul. Our soul is, I want you to think about it. Your soul is not contained in this body. Your body is of the soul. So if we can learn to tap into that power of soul, our soul, which machines don't have it, hint, hint, they don't have it. You have it. You have all of it. Learn to tap into that. Trust that. Because again, someone could say, well, what if this is all just BS? What if there is no soul? What if there is no God? And we're creating these machines? Well, let me ask you, if that is so, then what you would have is this finite existence of maybe 75 to 100 years. And if that is so, don't you want the 75 to 100 years to be the most enjoyable it could possibly be? Or would you prefer to choose the latter, to live a miserable existence of victimhood until you just disappear? So I choose the former. I choose to say, this is what I believe. This is how I behave as a result of those beliefs. Are my beliefs malleable? Yeah. I couldn't have guessed, except for maybe in a few movies, that this AI thing would actually come to pass, but it's more than come to pass. It's changing everything. So it's about choice. Once again, it's about choice. The future isn't something we wait for. It's something we create. Abraham Lincoln said that. It's your choice what your life holds, your future holds in the now. You're creating whatever is to come tomorrow, right here, right now, with every breath, with every choice that you make. So the difference, and we're going to wrap up here shortly because you've been patient and kind and here for 25 minutes already. The difference between being led by fear versus led by creation. I want you to lean into this a little bit and give this some thought. This is maybe 3 minutes, okay? Really powerful. AI is fueled by, what did I say? Data. AI is fueled by data. And what can it do better than any human brain can compute? It can take massive amounts, unthinkable amounts of data and converge all of that data into a single data point, into a sentence. We are fueled. Humans are fueled by what? God, soul, breath, life. A robot doesn't have a life. It has components and pieces and data, but it doesn't have a life. In order to have a life, you have to have breath. Tell me something different. So let's think about it this way. AI runs on what? Runs on algorithms, just like this StreamYard software. That's how I'm coming to you live on 3 or 4 different platforms, algorithms. We're run on inspiration, inspirato. AI doesn't get stuck in the past. It has data, it doesn't have life memories. It doesn't overthink, and it never doubts itself. So that's its advantage. It doesn't overthink, and it never doubts itself. But it also doesn't have the power to dream. It only does what we, the humans, or the data that we generate, tell it to do. It doesn't feel, and it cannot innovate from the perspective of deep human passion and experience. The only way that humans lose in this new era is if we stop believing in our own power. If we let fear be our ruler, our driver, and of our breath and our creativity and our inspiration. If we let fear sit in the driver's seat, then we'll have like what they say in those, they've showed in those movies of, the Terminator, where machines are ruling the world. That only happens when we lose belief in our own power and who we are and what our value is. Let's make a choice. So let's make a choice. Make creativity the center of your life. Curiosity, put that at the center of your life. Those things are what drive our own resourcefulness. and light our soul on fire. Like the soul wants us to know the breadth and depth of who we are and what we are. Stardust. It wants us to know that. Allow the possibility of that truth in you. I'm going to guide you, I think, with that. I think I'm going to wrap. I want to wrap with an exercise that brings you and reminds you of your own resilience and power. And so wherever you are, I invite you to pause. I've done videos on this before, right? The power to pause. And so if you're sitting, let your feet press into the ground. If you're standing, find a posture that feels strong, that feels open. You know, we often do the power pose. I taught that to the gentleman this week that was at my place, helping me pretty it up. Power posing and what that does for you and your physiology in the moment. If you're listening to this while you're moving, you know, you're in your car or you're moving from point A to point B at the office, whatever it is, just tune into your breath and stay with me. Just get aware of that inspirato, of that breath in and out and in and out. Take in that breath, knowing it's something that a robot can never do. And how magical that is, and how that breath brings you into the present moment. Right here, my breath is all of you. That's where your value sits. Try it again and just hold it for a moment, and then exhale very slowly and really feel the power of that breath. I want you to bring to mind a fear, a worry, whether it's about your job, all that we've talked about today, something in the future, the government, foreign powers, whatever it might be. Fear of flying, whatever, things that have gotten triggered in all of us over the last week. And notice how it feels. Mine, when I feel fear, I instantly fear, which many of us do. You feel it in your chest. You hear about people's chest tightening. Okay? And notice it. No judgment, just be aware. You think about something fearful or driven by anxiety. Where do you feel it in your body? Now shift the story in your mind as you sit here in this quiet space with me. Rather than what is AI taking from me, it's how can I grow with this change? Instead of what am I losing, how can I become bigger? What strengths do I know I already have on some level that AI can never have? And let your breath move in and out, holding these questions with love and gentleness. Again, not wrestling them, not tightening around them, loosening everything around them, using your breath to loosen up that tightness. Letting it dissolve into the space around you. Take in one final nice deep breath, feeling your own presence, your own strength, your groundedness. Exhale, grounding in this truth. You ready? You are adaptable. You are creative. You are meant and designed to thrive. You are here now for a reason. You chose this time to be here. Did you know that? So AI is this massive expansion of so much. Do you know that you chose to be here during this time that AI was introduced? For a reason. So let it all out, loosen it up, and be in your power right here, right now. This is really, truly human beings' time to step forward. Not with fear, but with greater clarity and appreciation for how powerful we really are. AI is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. So are we. And it's our ability to create, to choose that reality and innovate and connect with one another in a stronger way than ever before. It's our time to shine and to realize the biggest parts of ourselves. Could you have ever imagined that artificial intelligence would actually help us be better humans and realize and tap into places within us we couldn't have without AI? How empowering is that? Those are the questions I want you to be considering and the story that you can choose to tell in your workplace. And as you do that, your employees, your colleagues, certainly your children, everyone around you, again, it's that ripple effect. When you walk emboldened, when you walk more expansive, everything energetically and everyone around you cannot help but be bigger and more expansive, even if they don't recognize it. And even if it's not visible to you, it's happening. So as you go about your week, I invite you to keep returning to this place, returning to your breath, and keep asking yourself, how do I use AI as a tool? And instead of fearing it as a threat, leverage it to make me bigger and better than ever. And what do I uniquely bring to the table that no technology on the planet can or ever will replicate? The future isn't happening to you. It's happening through you, like everything that is. Thank you for being here. We stayed longer than anticipated, but I hope that final exercise helped you. And it's a place you can come. Your breath always is that place that you go to be fuller, bigger, more resourceful, and put yourself into the driver's seat. You don't have a choice. When you're fully aware of your breath, you're in the driver's seat. You can't be anywhere else. So it's the finest tool, most powerful tool on the planet, your breath. And robots will never have it. If this episode on some level resonated with you or other people came to mind, you want to share it with your employees, or frankly, you want to schedule a time for me to have that conversation directly with you and or your teams, I'm happy to do that. You just reach out to me at bloom@angelamoonin.com. And as always, keep breathing, keep creating, keep living, keep inspiring, keep being you for living well today. Much love and see you next week.